Welcome, my fellow wanderers, both the longtime Sagittarius companions who have been walking this path with me for years and the bright-eyed newcomers who have just stumbled into my little corner of the universe, Zodiac Talks Tarot. Whether you came here chasing a sign, or maybe because YouTube's mysterious algorithm finally worked in your favor, you're exactly where you need to be. This isn't just another horoscope rattled off to make you feel temporarily comforted. Think of it instead as a dialogue, your soul speaking with the stars, and me, an interpreter who has spent far too many late nights studying charts, archetypes, and yes, even the psychology behind why Sagittarius insists on booking trips during Mercury retrograde. September 2025 isn't going to whisper to you politely, the heavens are raising their voice. And for once, they're not speaking in riddles. Let's start with a breath. Inhale the doubts, the what-ifs, and the exhausting need to rush. Exhale everything that no longer fits. Because this month, your lesson isn't about sprinting to the finish line or chasing arrows into the horizon. It's about discovering the strength of moving slowly, intentionally, and dare I say stubbornly. The Knight of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups show up like two guardians at your gate. Their message is simple: steady progress may not get applause, but it builds kingdoms. Picture it like sculpting a castle out of stone instead of sand. The waves can crash, the storms can come, but that foundation will not wash away. I know you, Sagittarius. Patience isn't your favorite word. You'd rather leap, laugh, and deal with consequences later. So when life slows down, you assume the universe has put you on hold, like some cosmic elevator music. But the truth is, the pause is deliberate. You're being tuned into a rhythm that outlasts short-lived victories. Fireworks are exciting, yes, but they burn out fast. Sustainable transformation, the kind that leaves a legacy, demands structure, discipline, and the kind of routine that makes your restless heart groan. Still, here's the twist: someone or something is entering your orbit, not in a blaze of drama, but with quiet, unwavering intention. They're not here to entertain you for a weekend. They're here to shape the story of your future. And in a world addicted to quick fixes and vanishing acts, that kind of steady presence is rarer than a Sagittarius turning down an adventure. Let's get real for a moment, Sagittarius. You're being nudged, sometimes subtly, sometimes with the cosmic equivalent of a slap on the wrist, to treat your body like the sacred temple it is. Maybe you've felt that pull to finally commit to yoga, or you've suddenly caught yourself staring at meal prep containers like they're the holy grail. This isn't random. The stars are reminding you that the spiritual has always been physical. The body isn't just the suitcase your soul travels in, it's the first oracle, the most honest truth teller you have. If you're dragging your feet through the day, foggy-headed, bloated, or running on fumes, it's not enlightenment knocking at the door. It's your body begging for water, movement, and the kind of rest that Netflix doesn't provide. And in this year of triumph 2025, the universe isn't rewarding chaos, it's rewarding structure. Hard pill to swallow, I know, especially for a sign that would rather gallop barefoot through foreign fields than count macros. But discipline, even in small doses, is the scaffolding that makes your vision possible. And yet, just when you think you've got it all under control, the King of Cups reversed waltzes into your reading with that maddening smile of someone who knows your secrets. This card speaks to emotional overcontrol, the quiet thief of your joy. Sagittarius, let's not pretend. You've been the family's weather forecaster, predicting everyone else's storms and sunshine, making sure no one drowns while you tread water yourself. You've learned to love deeply but silently, to carry the weight without complaint, to keep the peace even if it costs your own serenity. Admirable? Sure. Sustainable? Absolutely not. The mask of composure is starting to crack, and the leaks are showing up as stress, headaches, jaw tension, and that twitch in your left eye you keep blaming on caffeine. The irony is almost poetic. You who crave freedom have been imprisoned by your own need to keep emotions tidy. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us, clinging to control is the root of suffering. Water doesn't flow because we trap it. It flows because we let it move. Vulnerability doesn't mean weakness, Sagittarius. It means finally allowing yourself to feel without editing, to be loved without performing. And if you can manage to laugh at yourself in the process, say, the next time you try to meditate but spend the entire time planning your grocery list, you'll find the kind of liberation that no routine or crown can take away. There's a funny contradiction in our culture, Sagittarius. We worship strength as if it were the only currency worth trading, and yet the strongest moments in a human life rarely come dressed in armor. They arrive in tears, shaky confessions, or the terrifying act of saying, "I don't know." Vulnerability has been mislabeled for centuries as weakness, when in truth it is the highest form of courage. Think about it, anyone can hide behind bravado, but it takes a rare soul to stand still, open-hearted, and let the world see the cracks. Right now, the universe isn't asking you to fix every flaw or control every outcome. It's asking you to sit with yourself, to lean into the soft spaces you usually rush past. When was the last time you allowed someone to see the version of you that wasn't polished or wise, but scared, uncertain, and still piecing things together? Sometimes the truest form of leadership is admitting that you, too, need a hand to hold. Even the chosen ones, the visionaries and torchbearers, aren't defined by noise or dominance. Often they are the ones who dared to rest, dared to weep, dared to heal, even when the world demanded they stay stoic. That's the paradox, your softness is your power. And just when you surrender to that truth, the fool strides into your professional life, not to mock you but to remind you that rebirth always looks a little foolish at first. This isn't about recklessness, it's about renewal. A project, a job, a dream long shelved is calling you back, not with a neatly written business plan but with the thrill of possibility. Intuition, not logic, is steering the wheel, and for once, that's exactly where you're supposed to be. The irony? People may think you've lost your mind when in fact you've finally found your path. Meanwhile, love refuses to stay quiet. Someone new or someone reawakened enters without knocking, stirring your carefully contained world. They won't wait for you to feel prepared, and frankly, they don't care about your 5-step healing timeline. Their purpose is to reignite the part of you that still giggles, that still wants to dance barefoot in the kitchen at midnight. So the question becomes, will you let joy interrupt your schedule? Vulnerability may scare you, but joy? That's the risk worth taking. There's a peculiar thing about endings, Sagittarius. Most people are terrified of them because they sound like failure, like the credits rolling before the story is ready. But the 8 of Cups doesn't talk about defeat, it whispers about liberation. Sometimes it isn't that what you're leaving behind is awful, it's simply that your soul has grown restless. Boredom, believe it or not, is a sacred clue. In psychology, boredom signals that the nervous system has already squeezed the juice out of a situation. In Buddhist thought, it's a nudge that attachment has outlived its purpose. And in astrology, it's your spirit reminding you that you are here to expand, not to shrink yourself into a role that no longer fits. So if that means stepping away from a job that numbs you, a relationship that feels more like maintenance than magic, or even an outdated version of yourself, then the bravest act is to walk. Yes, you may walk alone for a stretch, but solitude has always been the secret workshop of Sagittarius. It's where your fire refuels, where your humor sharpens, and where your bowstring gets retied for the next great shot. And if someone mutters that you're too much for daring to choose yourself, the truth is they were never enough to keep pace with you in the first place. Of course, the challenge of walking away is that life doesn't just close one door and politely hand you the next. No, it tosses you into a hallway full of doors, some gilded, some cracked, some suspiciously glowing like they belong in a horror movie. Enter the Seven of Cups. This card is the universe's way of saying, not all that sparkles is destiny. Options are wonderful, but they can also be distractions dressed as opportunities. You're not being asked to pick the fanciest door, Sagittarius. You're being asked to choose the one that feels like home. That's the tricky part. Home isn't always the loudest or the most glamorous. It's the choice that quiets your nervous system instead of setting it buzzing. And here's the wisdom of long years of study, both of people and of planets: clarity rarely comes in the rush. It comes in the pause, the listening, the willingness to honor your intuition as the GPS, not the backup plan. Think of it like online shopping. Yes, that jacket looks amazing on the model, but will it actually fit your life? Then there's the Page of Cups, showing up like a mischievous child tugging at your sleeve. That little idea you've been dismissing, that spark you've told yourself is too small to matter? It's not small, it's embryonic. Every oak tree began as an acorn, every epic began as a line scribbled on paper. Whether it's a book waiting in your journal, a podcast outline on your desktop, or a healing practice you've secretly researched at midnight, the message is simple: water it. You don't need a flawless business plan or 10-year strategy. What you need is courage and the willingness to look a little foolish while starting. The chosen ones, after all, are rarely those who waited for green lights. They're the ones who built the road, often while everyone else stood at the curb, waiting for permission. So go ahead, Sagittarius. Risk the awkward beginning. Laugh at yourself when the first draft stumbles. Because what feels small today may well become the cornerstone of your future. And that's not fantasy, that's the quiet, undeniable math of growth. If there's one thing I've learned after decades of studying people, planets, and the curious ways they intersect, it's this: Sagittarius was never designed to live a life stripped of humor. When you forget to laugh, you forget who you are. Think about it: your ruling planet, Jupiter, isn't some stiff academic in the corner of the cosmic classroom. It's the great comedian of the Zodiac, the planet of abundance, luck, and the occasional wildly inappropriate joke that slips out at Thanksgiving dinner. And yet, many of you have been carrying so much adult responsibility lately that you've forgotten your natural medicine. This month, the prescription is simple: joy, administered daily. That doesn't mean you need to run away to Bali or sign up for a clown college. It means letting your inner child stretch its legs. Go dance in your kitchen like nobody's watching, except maybe your dog, and even he'll be impressed by your moves. Go eat something messy, the kind of meal that leaves sauce on your shirt and a smile on your face. Go flirt lightly, respectfully with someone who makes you blush, even if you know you won't call them tomorrow. Because joy isn't frivolous, it's survival. In psychological terms, laughter lowers cortisol, rewires your brain chemistry, and makes you more resilient in the face of stress. In Buddhist terms, joy is a form of rebellion against suffering, a reminder that life, even in its darkest seasons, always contains something worth smiling about. And for Sagittarius, joy isn't optional, it's strategy. It's how you recover from the silent battles you've fought, the disappointments you've tucked under your adventurous spirit, the loneliness you've never admitted aloud. But joy alone isn't enough. To truly thrive, you need balance. Enter the Queen of Swords and the Strength card, your spiritual anchors this month. Together, they remind you that wisdom without patience is brittle, and strength without softness is cruelty. The path forward isn't about proving how tough you are, Sagittarius. Stoicism has its place, but your soul is asking for something braver: emotional honesty. It's time to reclaim balance by speaking your truth without turning it into a weapon, by loving deeply without apologizing, by allowing tears when they come, and by resting without guilt. That, my friends, is true strength. And if you need a mantra to carry you through September, Try this one. I trust my pace. I trust my heart. I trust that the right ones will stay. Finally, the oracle leaves us with the Prince of Rainbows, a quiet promise that the universe has noticed your perseverance. You haven't needed to shout for recognition because your endurance, your silent labor, and your refusal to quit have already written their own reward. The gold at the end of the rainbow isn't a metaphor this time, it's real. But don't rush to grab it, don't shrink yourself to fit someone else's version of success, and don't settle for less than what you deserve. Walk on, wild archer, because this is your year of triumph 2025. You are no longer just the seeker of paths. You are the path. So take the wisdom, take the laughter, take the balance and live. Truly live. And if this message resonated with you, show your love back. Like this video, share it with someone who needs the reminder, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Zodiac Talks Tarot. Together, we'll keep navigating the stars, one story at a time.